Good evening. You're watching Just the News. I'm Amita Balachandra. Straight up to our top story. The rupee has ended at a record low of 80.86 rupees against the US dollar today, down from 79.97 rupees in the previous session. Now, this is the fifth time the rupee has breached the 80 mark this year. This was the biggest single day fall for the rupee since February 24th. Now, the dollar surged to a fresh two-decade high on Wednesday after the US Federal Reserve raised interest rates by another 75 basis points and warned of more hikes. In fact, this was also because recession fears increased. The central bank has now been looking to bring down inflation, which is running near its highest levels since the early 1980s. In the meantime, this obviously had an impact on gold, silver, and the equity markets as well. Gold and silver prices in India fell today in tandem with the drop in international prices. On MCX, gold futures were near 7-month low of 49,321 rupees, down 0.25%, while silver fell 0.4%. In the meantime, the top line equity indices on the BSE and the NSE fell for the second successive day, slipping around 0.5% today, weighed by banking stocks. Sensex crashed 337 points and Nifty ended below the 17,650 mark. Moving away from the story now to what's going on as far as the hijab ban story is concerned. The Supreme Court has reserved its order on the clutch of petitions challenging the Karnataka High Court order upholding the ban on hijab in educational institutes. Now, this means that the court has heard all of the arguments and now will take time to consider and give its judgment. The petitioners had challenged Karnataka High Court judgment that had upheld Karnataka government's hijab ban in educational institutions. In fact, they then moved the apex court. They argued that unlike triple talaq and cow sacrifice, hijab is mentioned in Quran and it is the farz of Muslim women to retain the same. The arguments largely centered around whether or not hijab is an essential practice in Islamic faith. Also in the news, the Supreme Court came down hard on TV channels over hate speech. Now, it also asked why the government is remaining a mute spectator. Without naming television channels, the court said that freedom of press is important, but, and I quote, we should know where to draw the line, end quote. Now, while talking about TV channels, Justice K.M. Joseph said, and I quote, there is the role of the anchor is very critical because the moment you see somebody going into hate speech, it's the duty of the anchor to immediately see that he does not allow that person to say anything further. Unfortunately, many a time somebody wants to say something, he is muted, person is not given proper time, he is not even treated courteously, end quote. Now, the matter is going to be heard next on the 23rd of November. Moving on now, the Enforcement Directorate in its charge sheet in the alleged scam of rigging television ratings has said that it has not found evidence against Republic TV. Now, to give you a bit of a context, in 2020, Mumbai police had registered a case against Arnab Goswami and 4 others from the company. ED had filed a separate case. In its charge sheet, the Enforcement Directorate has said that its findings did not match with those of the Mumbai police. The agency cleared Republic TV and its Hindi news channel Aar Bharat of allegations of having manipulated television rating points, or what it's called as TRPs. Now, according to Bar and Bench, the Enforcement Directorate also said that it has not yet completed its investigation into the alleged role of 2 other channels, News Nation and India Today. Moving on now, the centre has proposed to regulate voice, video and data services offered by over-the-top or OTT platforms such as WhatsApp, Signal, FaceTime and Google Meet by including them under telecommunication services. Currently, while telecom companies need a license to offer services, OTT platforms do not. Now, the platforms will be required to obtain a license from the government just like other telecom operators. In its draft, the government also said that it could exempt entities from the requirement of obtaining a license, registration, and authorization if it is in public interest. According to reports, it's not yet clear how the bill, if implemented, may impact OTT and internet-based communication such as services such as WhatsApp and Signal, which are already encrypted. Also, Telecom Minister Ashwini Vaishnav has sought public feedback on this draft, considering it's only a draft. The last date for sending comments is the 20th of October. Moving on now, the National Investigation Agency and the Enforcement Directorate have raided the premises linked to Popular Front of India in 11 states and union territories over alleged involvement in terror activities. Now, over 100 people were arrested according to reports. The raids were conducted in Kerala, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Assam, Uttar Pradesh, among other states. Over 1,500 law enforcement personnel were reportedly involved in the operation as well. Also, a Delhi court hearing Northeast Delhi riots cases acquitted a man of charges of rioting and burning a shop in Kajori Khas area allegedly during the riots in Northeast Delhi in February 2020. The court observed that his identification was, and I quote, an outcome of an afterthought development by the police, end quote. Now, the court also said that it found the statement of investigation officer Jeevanand contradictory. The court was hearing a case against Noor Mohammed, accused of being part of a mob that looted and set ablaze a tailoring shop in the national capital during the riots. Communal violence, in fact, had broken out between the supporters of the Citizenship Amendment Act and those opposing the law in Northeast Delhi between February 23rd and February 26, 2020. The violence claimed 53 lives and injured many others. In Uttar Pradesh, 4 children died and 2 people were injured after a wall collapse in Etawah. UP Chief Minister Adityanath has announced a compensation of 4 lakh rupees for the families of the deceased. In the meantime, on Wednesday, the IMD had predicted isolated heavy rainfall and thunderstorms over Uttar Pradesh till Friday. Moving on to politics right now, the Congress party today has begun the process of electing a new party chief. In the notification, Madhusudan Mistry, the chairperson of the Central Election Authority, has said that the process for filing of nominations for the election will be held between September 24th to September 30th. Now, according to media reports, MP Shashi Tharoor and Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot are likely to contest. The party, however, has not made any official announcement about any of the reports. Now, according to NDTV, former Congress chief Rahul Gandhi has said that he supports the party's one man, one post rule, hinting that Gehlot may not get to remain the chief minister if elected as party president. Now, this is the first election for the party president in over 20 years without a Gandhi family member as a default choice. The election will take place on the 17th of October and results will be declared 2 days later. Meanwhile, amid the Punjab government and governor tussle, Punjab Chief Minister announced that the cabinet has decided to convene an assembly session on the 27th of September. Earlier, the governor withdrew his order, citing the absence of specific rules regarding summoning the assembly only for a confidence motion. A similar situation was witnessed in Delhi too, when AAP alleged that BJP offered 20 crore rupees each to 40 of its MLAs to join the BJP. However, AAP won the vote of confidence on the 1st of September. On to international news right now. According to a report by the BBC, Russia has begun implementing plans to call up reservists to fight in Ukraine. Now, Russian President Putin has ordered to mobilize 3 lakh more Russians with military experience. The mobilization is the first since World War II and comes after Russia suffered setbacks on the battlefield in Ukraine. Now, this has sparked protests in Russia, and according to Associated Press, reports suggested that the protesters in Moscow chanted "No to war" and "Life to our children." Over 1,000 anti-mobilization protesters are reported to have been arrested as well. In the meantime, last night, a prisoner exchange saw more than 200 prisoners of war released by Russia, including 5 British nationals who have arrived back in the UK today. Russia had invaded Ukraine, if you remember, on the 24th of February, and it's been over 7 months. One piece of good news before we wrap things up here on this bulletin. According to the IIFL Wealth Hurun India Rich List 2022, Indian American Neha Narkhede has been named the youngest self made woman entrepreneur on the list of wealthy individuals. Now, she was born in Pune and has co founded streaming data technology company Confluent. Now, the 37-year-old had previously worked at LinkedIn and Oracle and has an estimated wealth of over 4,700 crore rupees. That brings us to the end of this bulletin. Thank you so much for watching.